Cool. Okay, I want to talk about how, if you've got little to no capital to invest in property, but you want to invest in property, I want to talk a little bit about how I think you could probably increase that capital and get to a point where you can invest in property more efficiently, start building a capital pot, start buying assets that pay you in the future and build future wealth for you and secure your future for retirement. So let's get into how I think you can do this. So the first thing I think you need to do is to save some cash. And it sounds really obvious, but let's talk about some actual practical steps on how you can do this, because lots of people think, oh, save some cash, and they end up putting £100 or £200 a month away, and it will take you a lifetime to save, a decent pot of cash to be able to invest in property. So what you really, really need to do is reduce your expenses. And I mean, sounds harsh, but no coffees out, no going for fancy meals, Nando's in the middle of the week, having big nights out on the weekend. You need to cut all of that stuff. You don't need to buy fancy clothes. You don't need to, don't need to do any of that sort of stuff. You need to cut your expenses to nothing. Cut your living expenses if you can. Buy a used car. Reduce the amount you use your car. Spend all of your time learning and none of your time spending. That will help initially. Secondly, like I just mentioned, you want to start learning as in-depth as you can about property. To do that, I would probably think about investing in books. You can buy property books, online courses, in-person courses, mentorship, coaching, anything and everything you can to be able to increase your knowledge. Because as soon as you've got somebody who knows more than you about the thing that you want, then you want to pay them to get access to that knowledge and just draw it out of their brains, ask them a million questions, try and find out absolutely everything they know about that subject, because it'll benefit you. It will just fast track the rate in which you learn those things. If you have to learn them yourself, it's a slow and painful process. It might take you years, decades even, to learn. So you want to increase your rate of learning by paying to learn as fast as you possibly can. Also, around the learning side of things, you want to save your time. So if you're learning by, spending an hour a week reading a book or something similar around property, then you want to be able to increase that time you spend learning. So the time you save and the money you save going out, instead of being out and about, shopping, buying stuff you don't need, drinking, eating, whatever it is, spend that time learning. So evenings, mornings, weekends, just be in the books, in the programs, in the courses, in the mentorship, just learning as fast as you can, because that will increase the rate in which you can earn money and will increase the rate in which you know about said subject. So doubling down on learning is a really, really good way to increase your ability to understand property terms, terminology, strategies, all of these things. Next thing is getting really clear on a strategy or a skill set. If you're going to do rent to rent, do that. If you're going to do HMOs, do that. If you're going to do conversions, do that. If you're going to do flips or buy, refurbish, refinance, do that. But don't try and do them all at once. Focus on one thing. Make sure your learning is geared around that one thing, and then just double down on that. Try and learn from people that are doing it. Go and see people on site. Go and see people who have those sorts of deals. And really get into that strategy and master it before you start thinking about other strategies. Another way where I think you can save cash is by not inflating your lifestyle. So as you start to learn, then you will start to accumulate cash and invest in property deals. Then don't change your lifestyle. The longer you can remain at that base level lifestyle, the more you'll be able to put cash aside, the more you'll be able to invest, the more risk you'll be able to take. So don't increase your lifestyle as your cash pot and your income increases, and that will further increase your ability to be able to save more cash, learn more, invest more, and take risks, as I just said. So keep your lifestyle, remain it as stable as you possibly can, and stick to that, and that will really help you accelerate in property. If you have all of those things locked, then you will start to have available capital. You will start to bring in cash and cash flow. You'll build wealth within your portfolio, your asset, your company, and that will just allow you to stop thinking about the day-to-day. You won't have to worry about the day-to-day, because when you're worrying about what the next day, week, month, or year is going to cost, then it's really, really hard to have long-term visions and long-term thinking, and you can't plan for years in advance, decades in advance, or for your children if you have that kind of short-term mindset. So you have to give yourself that longer-term mindset, and to do that, you need to put systems in place that give you that income and give you that security and that cash flow, and then you can start thinking about the long term, thinking about how this strategy is going to feed either other strategies, or if this will take you to the point in which you have retirement portfolio, retirement income. So all of those things need to be thought about, but they're really, really hard to think about until you've sorted your immediate needs, your immediate cash flow needs. So get those things fixed. Use all of the things that I talked about at the front end of this video around reducing expenses, increasing your learning, maintaining your lifestyle as your income grows. All of those things will really, really help you as you grow and scale in property, and then you will be able to secure your future. And believe me, it will take less than you think as long as you commit to it. If you half-ass it, if you dip a toe and try to figure it and do some time, it'll take you just as long as if you didn't do it, because you need to commit to things, you need to be all in on things, and that will, I promise you, that will help you get to your goals. And I guess the summarizing final thought on this is that we want to actually be rich, to be wealthy, to have all of the things that we want: time, additional income, more disposable income, income to spend on more assets, income to spend on holidays, lifestyle, things with the family and with friends. And we don't necessarily want to look rich. We're not here buying, fancy cars. We're not going to go out and buy super fancy houses. It's about being wealthy and not necessarily looking wealthy. So I think if we can get these sort of systems in place, if we can build this baseline of like good quality income, good quality cash flow, maintaining lifestyle, then we can have this actual true wealth, and nobody can know about it. People can know about it if you want, but nobody needs to know about it, because we won't be buying unnecessary materialistic things. We will be buying quality of life. We'll be buying our time back. We'll be buying our future. And I think that is so much more valuable than buying yourself a new Mercedes or a Rolex watch or whatever you're going to buy. So, and that's not a Rolex, by the way. This is a Garmin watch. I don't do fancy watches. So do that. I think it'd be a really, really valuable thing for you to do, particularly if you're between sort of like 30 and 40. I think once you pass sort of 40, mid 40s and into 50s, I think it's going to get really, really difficult to learn and buy and build a portfolio for the long term, because you're approaching retirement already. So try and get it done in your 30s. If you're in your 40s, it's definitely possible, but let's like hammer it as soon as we physically can, because the more time you spend in property, the more capital appreciation you get, the more knowledge you get, the more contacts you get, the better you're going to be. So like I said at the start, spend a little bit of time on this. Learn these basics, learn these skills. If you need any help with it, drop me a message on Instagram. More than happy to help you out. I'm not going to charge you to help you with a few questions or anything like that. And I will see you over on Instagram or see you on another video.